So Paul, you're finalising your chemical industry budget for 2013 to 2015. Are you any more upbeat than you were this time last year? What's happened in the last 12 months?
Well, I suppose, Will, a year ago we could still be hopeful that the oil price was going to fall, because that would encourage consumption. We could also be hopeful that central bank stimulus programs might lead to a more sustainable kind of recovery. Sadly, a year on, oil is now still at very high levels. In fact, it's at the highest level we've seen ever for the last 2 years now. It continues at this price. And of course, the stimulus packages simply haven't achieved their objective. And central banks are trying new stimulus packages, but third or fourth time around, I think one gets a little bit more depressed about their chances. So, yeah, my outlook for 2013 and 2015 is not as positive as it was last year. I think there are growing difficulties that we face.
What kind of operating environment do you predict for the chemical industry fourth quarter and early next year then?
Well, what I'm really saying, Will, is that I think we should look forward, if that's the word, to an L-shaped recovery.
Right.
That instead of seeing things bouncing back at some point in the future, maybe not fourth quarter, maybe not first quarter, but in 6 months' time or a year's time, it's inevitable that it will get better. The European crisis will get sorted out, the US will sort out its fiscal cliff, China will get new stimulus. I think let's actually say, no, it's going to be pretty flat, because certainly the fourth quarter is looking pretty flat, and the first quarter doesn't give much grounds for optimism.
In terms of operating rates, what do you
I think we're seeing in ethylene at the moment, worldwide, somewhere around the 80% level. And to be honest, I think we'll be lucky to hang on to those as we get towards the end of the year.
Okay. What about longer term? When do you expect key markets like construction and automotive to recover fully, say, back to 2008 levels?
Well, I'm an optimist, and I do believe that in the end, central banks will get hold of the idea that demographics drive demand, and if we've got a population now in the world which is getting older, 30% of people now over the age of 55, then the things that people at the age of 55 and over need are very different from when they were 20 or 30. And it's much more of a replacement market, because older people have mostly got all the stuff that they need, and if they want to buy a new sofa because it's wearing out, well, they can put it off for a year or two. It's not like when they were a young couple setting up home for the first time. So growth will be much slower. It's going to be that kind of L-shaped recovery. But if central banks focused on that, instead of trying to return us to where we were, then of course there are lots of things they could do.
What kind of techniques can chemical companies apply to insulate themselves against all this volatility?
Well, they can almost move forward on their own.
Right.
You've got two fantastic opportunities in the midst of this crisis. The first is the growing number of people over 55, and almost nobody is making products or services for them. So I say this to my friends in the chemical industry, not wishing to be rude, but frankly, you don't have any competition out there, so you don't have to be that good to be very successful. And that's the kind of market that, as a chemical industry man myself, I rather like. Equally, if we look at the emerging economies, we see billions of people who have now moved out of poverty for the first time. In China, 20 years ago, 60% of people were earning less than $2 a day. Today, only 6% are. Fantastic improvement. But again, almost nobody is making products and services for that group of people with a little bit of money to spend. Datsun, Nissan, is relaunching the Datsun as a $3,000 car aimed at those people. I said in the blog recently, every chemical company selling to the car industry ought to get on a plane to Tokyo and talk to them, because that is going to be a raging success. A $3,000 car, properly engineered, will be a wonder piece. So those are the kind of opportunities that people have got. If they wait for the central banks, I think they'll be waiting until they go bankrupt.
Thanks so much, Paul.
Thank you.